Hey guys, what's up? Stable back here. I'm here with another video. This one's not going to be a mod review video or, like an exposing video or anything like that I've done recently. Instead, this is another video I've been wanting to do for a while. It's actually a PvP guide video. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do all those PvP tricks and stuff you always wanted to do. And of course, how to actually become better in PvP in general. This video has been a video I've been wanting to do for actually since like I think June or something, but I've got a long list of video ideas and I never really get to lots of them. So shout out to Elite Lupus just for making me remember I wanted to do this video, because he sent a tweet to Panda and MTN mentioning them, asking about a PvP video, and I was like, oh wait, I wanted to do one of those, didn't I? So here I am, same day, and I'm making PvP video I've wanted to do for a while. So without further ado, let's hop right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright guys, I personally think this first one is a little bit obvious, something that most people know. Not everyone does it though, so I think I have to address it. It's using third person, alright? So for those of you who have no clue what third person is, or don't really understand the benefits of it, I'll just go over it real fast and move on, because it's not really something we have to ponder on for a while. It's really simple. Unturned has two perspective modes, well three if you consider camera mode perspective mode, but that's not really available to the general player, so I'm going to skip it. First, third person, which allows you to peek around walls and stuff without actually being seen. Ignore the cracks in the wood. I'm not talking about like through that wall, I'm talking like in general, like around corners and stuff. And first person, which doesn't, you have to peek. Also, if you're using a gun, oh shoot, I'm about to die. For example, like the volume or something, and it doesn't have a sight on it. In first person, you have a gun without a sight. Kind of hard to aim, and this is kind of a regular example. But in third person, even if you don't have a sight, you still have a crosshair, and it's really easy. So that's just another advantage that isn't really that relevant, but I just want to go over it. So using third person gives you an advantage because you can see people around corners, you can see people like before they see you. If there's a dude over there and I was in first person, I'd have to peek, see him, pause, maybe get behind cover, then jump back up and see if he's still there, then aim and shoot at him. If I'm in third person, I can run over here, see him, aim at him, shoot at him, and kill him. You don't have to do all that risky exposure where he can see you and he can shoot you back, especially if you're using third person. You don't know if you're visible from that angle, you don't know if you're covered by those barrels. It's really risky using first person, and it's not really worthwhile. Lots of people say like, oh, third person's for noobs and stuff. Well, if it's in the game, it's obviously there for a reason. So it's better for PvP. I don't see any reason why anyone would actually use first person if they had the option to use third person. But yeah, moving on to tip number 2. Alright guys, tip number 2 is related only to really two guns in Unturned, the Fusillon and the Eagle Fire. If you couldn't guess by those two guns what it is, then I'll reveal it to you. It's using burst fire. Some guns in Unturned, specifically as I just mentioned, the Eagle Fire and the Fusillon, aka the FAMAS, have a different mode of fire than the other ones. Burst fire. Other guns have automatic fire and semi-automatic. This one has burst fire and semi-automatic, and of course safety, but that's not really a fire mode. So burst fire, what it allows you to do is it allows you to shoot bursts of bullets and at a time, rather than just a straight up spray, and each time you click is another burst. The advantage to this might seem obvious to those who know this like Unturned really well, but to those who don't, the advantage to these is that burst fire shoots guns faster, alright? It shoots bullets faster, so if you can hit someone 3 times in the head and you can get really accurate with burst fire, you can kill them faster than they can kill you. With guns like the FAMAS and the Fusillon, or the Fusillon and the Eagle Fire, it just gives you an advantage because you have the ability to kill them before they can possibly kill you if you can become accurate with it. Not everyone is that great with burst fire. Even sometimes I would have a brain fart and I'll completely miss my shots. That's completely normal. Lots of people just can't use it in general. So if you can't, then work at it, try your best to get better at it. If you still can't, it's not really needed, it's just one thing that could definitely improve your game a lot if you can learn to use burst fire effectively. Moving on to tip number 3. Tip number 3 applies to the certain weapon choice that you decide to use in Unturned. Some weapons obviously have a faster fire rate than the others. For example, the machine gun veer or the MP40. It's a personal favorite of mine actually, but it's really slow. There's a couple weapons in Unturned you just never want to use over other ones. You always want to use the faster weapons in Unturned. Even if the faster weapon does less damage per bullet than the slower one, and the slower one does more damage per shot, or the slower one has more range, or whatever the reason is. Faster bullet fire equals faster or equals better gun, just in general by PvP standards at least, not zombies. The reason for this being that you can shoot someone faster, and this is the only reason why burst fire is good at all. It's not trash. It's because if you shoot someone faster, you can get headshots and stuff, and you can get more hits on them than they can get on you in a certain amount of time, and kill them faster than they can kill you. The damage amount, that's like the damage difference between like slower weapons and faster weapons, is small enough so that it doesn't matter. If you can aim and you can hit someone, then you using a faster weapon will every time, if you're getting accurate shots, using a faster weapon will give you a really obvious, like no denying it, advantage over them in that situation. Someone using a machine gun to try to shoot that person down over there, I wasn't aiming, trying to shoot a person down over there, compared to someone using a calling card to shoot someone down over there, calling card wins every time. If both people have good aim, calling card will always win. Couple like rules of thumb: never use a machine gun if you have a choice. Never use a heartbreaker if you have a choice. Maple strike is faster. Eco fire, burst fire, we already went over that. Night Raider, good. Augveer, bad. Augveer is almost as bad as like a machine gun. Calling card and Zubeknikov are like the dream guns. If you can get your hands on one of those and control the recoil, you will love it. It's amazing. It'll give you such an advantage. But one little thing to go over real fast, lots of people think that like, this is like the one exception to that rule, is if you use an LMG, and for those of you who don't know what that is, a light machine gun like a Dragon Fang or a Nekrov, or even it's just say machine guns, like including the Hell's Fury. Lots of people think like that would be like, oh, faster fire rate, like, yeah, let's go and use a Nekrov and try to shoot that person down. That's the one exception. Nekrovs, Dragon Fangs, and Hell's Fury, unless you're trying to join the 132 cults, which I know some people are trying to do. If you don't get the meme, sorry, but or the reference, whatever, then don't go around PvPing with the Dragon Fang, Nekrov, or Hell's Fury. The amount of damage per shot it does is a big enough difference. I know it's said for other guns it's not big enough difference, but for those guns, the amount of damage per shot it does compared to the slower guns, or even guns that are faster than it, for heaven's sakes, is big enough that you should never use them for PvP if you have an option against it. A Night Raider will always beat a Hell's Fury if they have the good aim, or well, always is debatable. Night Raider will always beat a Dragon Fang if they both have good aim and it's an even scenario. Dragon Fang will always lose against a Night Raider. Also, the recoil isn't really controllable on those guns, so the chance of you hitting someone is extremely decreased and it's not worth trying. So never use those three guns for PvP if we're talking about compared to other guns and you have a choice. Not worth it. Even the machine gun arguably would be better than a Dragon Fang or a Nekrov. Nekrov is even worse than a Dragon Fang, for heaven's sakes. Alright guys, next up, tip number 4 is using the attachments that really matter. Lots of attachments have no benefit or a very bad side effect that just wipes out the benefit. And you gotta know which attachments to use if you want to have the better advantage in PvP. So let's just start off with the barrels. Suppressor. It doesn't really do anything for you because yes, zombies won't hear you, but we all know from playing Unturned and playing PvP, or at least you should know, that you can still clearly hear someone with a suppressor. People will always start like, oh, there's a person with the Matamoras, or oh, look, there's a person with a honey badger. Why? Because you can hear them. Doing a suppressor doesn't help you at all. It's really pointless. Doing a barrel, alright, yeah, it can help a little bit, but it's not going to make that much of a difference. You always want to go with the muzzle if you have the chance. Barrel over suppressor and muzzle over barrel. Muzzle's the best one because it just helps with your recoil and it makes it easier to shoot people, and especially if you don't have that good of aim, it will assist you a lot. Yeah, it wears out, but it's definitely the beneficial one. Moving on to these, just gonna cross these out real fast. Bayonet, nothing for you. Sorry, don't use in PvP. Tactical light, nothing for you at all. No advantage, don't use it in PvP. Rangefinder, it's only good if you're sniping and you need to know the distance that someone is away for a bullet drop, or if you need to know if they're out of your range when you're sniping, which isn't really that often, but in case you want to check. So rangefinders, if you're using a sniper, use a rangefinder. All other times, every other time, when you're not sniping with a sniper, adaptive chambering is your best friend. It'll make your rate of fire a lot faster, which gives you an extreme advantage. We already talked about this with other guns. Faster means better, except for LMGs. So always use adaptive chambering if you have the option. With the grips, bipod is like completely useless if you're walking around and you're shooting people with like an assault rifle. Only really use a bipod if you're sniping and you're like laying down. Really, otherwise bipod should never be used. As far as the horizontal grip and the vertical grip go, each gun has like a different like it depends on the scenario, it depends on the weapon, it really does. So I could go through the list and show you like which ones are best for which weapon and which scenario and all that stuff. It's not really worth it. Honestly, both of them help. So if you want to go and look it up and see which one's better for which, have at it. I usually don't use scripts just because I don't find them that often, but when I do use one, I don't really pick, I don't memorize that stuff. I suppose it can give you an advantage if you actually go and find out, but either grip works for me. Of course, there always is a better one. If you want to go look it up, as I said before, have at it. It can definitely help you with your gameplay. I'm just not sure that'll give you that much of an advantage. And of course, sights. The only sight I'm going to go into, because sights don't really matter if you're using third person, or even if you're using first person, sights don't matter that much. Only sight I'm going to say against using is a 16 times scope. Never use a 16 times scope, ever. It's not worth the while. It's just going to get you screwed up, alright? 8 times, perfect. 16 times, dude, there's no reason. It's too big, and it won't really help you. At least not compared to an 8 times scope. 8 times scope is better. But yeah, moving on to tip number 5. Alright guys, tip number 5 is really simple and really fast. Pick stuff up fast, alright? Lots of times when you're PvPing, you'll see someone go, like let's say there's a loot pile there. I'm going to go in here, no, I want that medkit, alright, I'm going to bring it here, and I want that, I'm going to rotate it and put it there, and blah blah blah. No. Wrong, try again. Or especially if you see someone go and they want to pick up a weapon, let's say they don't even front, they're just standing there, they go in the inventory and they're like, oh, I want to put it there, but I can't, so hold up for 1 second. Come on, gotta. I know that's got to go there and no, shoot, move something back. All right, there we go. Now I have room for it. Completely wrong. All right, the best and most efficient and safest way to do stuff. Pick it up with F. You have to pick it up with your inventory prone right next to it real fast. Pick it up, holding control. Never go and like click on something to move it in. If you have to rearrange your inventory, get behind cover, rearrange it, then go pick it up. Try not to do it while you're in the loot pile or you're in the open. It really gives you like the perfect opportunity to die. Honestly, that's like the easiest way to kill someone. Is if they go and they prone in a loot pile, they're just sitting there rearranging their inventory. It's just like they're pretty much already dead. They've pretty much already given up their only hope of like their only chance of living at that point. Because anyone that's close by and they can see them can just spray them down and kill them so fast. It's so easy to kill someone like that. So you should really avoid doing that at all costs. Just go and hit F on it real fast and prone if you have to, then get back up real fast and start sprinting. Don't just get up and walk away. Never go over a loot pile standing and try to loot it. Try to just hit F if you can. F if you can. Try not to go in your inventory unless you have to, that kind of thing. It just makes it faster and it decreases your chances of dying. And really just makes it easier to get back into PvP and get undercover and be safe. Moving on to tip number 6. Tip number 6 is kind of obvious. Lots of people do this, lots of people don't. If you don't do it, you should do it because you're at an extreme disadvantage if you don't. It's just hotkeying your meds, alright? If you don't know what hotkeying is, go in your inventory, take a weapon you can equip, medical item, binoculars, grenade, something you equip in your hand and you use. For guns, I've never really been able to equip them. It's a hotkey 1 to 9. I've never been able to. I don't know why. If you actually can, I've always assumed you can't. I'm not going to go into that though. Medicine, or even like these, like say like hotkey 3 to 9, you can't hotkey that, so I don't know why it says that. But you take a medical item. Personally, I pick 3 to start as like the optimal weapon. Like if I have something that I'm going to use first, like the best medical weapon or item I have, I put it at 3 because I have 1 and 2 for my weapons, and then 3 is natural for me to go to next. Then 4 for the second best, and 5 for the third best. Pick whatever numbers you want, whatever numbers work for you. In hotkey, I pick 3 for the best one, 4 for the second best one, 5 for the third best one, and 6 for the fourth, and etc. Like that. The reason why I don't put medkits as first, like the one I would use first, is because if you're going to use a medkit, it takes a while and it leaves you exposed for more time than you need. Usually medkits shouldn't really be used unless you're at like 10% or 20% health. If you're at like 70% health and you have a bandage or a dressing, why are you using a medkit? It's just kind of pointless, you know. I just prefer to have medkits as my last option because they take longer, they expose you for PvP longer. If someone's rushing you, can get you killed because you didn't use a faster healing method. And also just going in your, let's say like this is someone like right there, and he's rushing me and I have like a couple seconds to equip a weapon. Going in my inventory, finding my medical item, looking over here and hitting equip. Right there is enough time for him to get here and be ready to kill me. Not to mention the fact that I'll have to stay here and then use it, and he can still be walking in and killing me as I'm doing that. And then I have to take out my weapon, and then I have to aim, and then I have to shoot. That whole time process can get you killed so much. I see it so often in the community. You're gonna want to hit your hotkey, and here's another thing: is if someone's rushing you and you're not gonna have time, like you're still gonna be in your inventory looking for your weapon or your med and equipping it. By the time, like, let's say you have to scroll down and look through your clothes. By the time he walks in, dude, you could have saved that problem, so you could have stopped that from happening. If he's rushing in and you didn't have time to find it in your inventory, but you had a hotkey, you just hit 4, and while you're in your inventory, he can walk in and kill you. But if you have it in your hand and you just hit your hotkey, you can run around, you can dodge, you can prone while you're healing yourself, and get behind cover, pull out your weapon, and start shooting back. You don't have to be sitting there, because if you're sitting here in your inventory looking for your medical item when he runs in, even if you equip it, since you're standing still, he can kill you so easily, and you can't even try to avoid it. You're just gonna die. It's so hard. It's so silly to not have your meds hotkeyed. But yeah, that's just something that you need to make sure you do. Hotkey your meds every single time you PvP. If you don't do it, then you really need to start doing it. It's pretty essential to PvP and Unturned. But yeah, moving on to number 7 on the list. Alright guys, number 7 is something that not many people are going to be able to do. Lots of people have an issue and struggle with this and stuff, and lots of people, even if they do get it, won't be perfect at it, but that's fine because it's just something that can improve your aim and your skill in the Unturned PvP. It can boost your skill like more than you can imagine. Doing this will help you give so many benefits. It's just amazing. So if you can do it, it really helps. But in CSGO, as many of you know, there's these things called spray patterns, and it's a pattern that if you just stare at a wall, you aim and you shoot, it's a pattern that the recoil takes. And by going in the opposite direction of this, you can reduce your recoil and you can improve your aim. And in CSGO, this takes a lot of practice and skill to learn spray patterns. In Unturned, it doesn't really take that much practice. Because as you can see, I'm just going to aim and shoot. That spray pattern is really simple. It's pretty much just straight up. A little bit of curve, but nothing really that hard to do. So if I just move my mouse down a little bit, and this is not really me trying, it's just showing how easy it is. Just doing that. Boom, look at the accuracy, the difference there. All I do is move my mouse down a tiny bit. I'm not like concentrating super hard, just moving my mouse down a little bit while I shoot. Tiny bit. And boom, the accuracy results are through the roof compared to the other one. And it just makes your accuracy so much. And I know, like, not so much better. I know not that many people are going to be actually sitting there doing that. Lots of people sit there and kind of do like that kind of thing. And that's fine too. But it was still more accurate the other way. And that's with like barely even trying. And like honestly, it's really simple. I know lots of people who are just going to have issues with kind of like moving your mouse against like the spray and aren't going to get it down. But for those of you who can, do it, because it will help you so much. If you can sit there and do an accurate spray, even if it's not really that accurate, even if it's like that bad, it's gonna help you by far. It's gonna make your game a lot easier, and it's gonna make your aim like so much better. But yeah, that's just something that's essential to PvP. If you can do it, do it. If you can't, that's fine. There's other ways to be better at PvP. But that is definitely one way to boost your game a lot. Moving on to tip number 8. Alright guys, number 8 on the list of tips. It's kind of common sense. It doesn't really require that much skill or like practice or some special tactic. It's just really having an observative eye, just being more observative and observing more around you, using third person, using your peripheral, constantly looking around, training your eye to spot stuff. Lots of people in Unturned will like go and just be running around in the open and not even see people because they're not looking for them mostly. They don't know where to look for them. Learning where people sit on a map, remembering that kind of stuff, and learning where people rush, like just noticing the small stuff that lots of people don't notice will really help your game a lot. Sorry for the cough. But that kind of thing will really boost your game. And it's just kind of common sense, really. But just constantly looking around, constantly peeking corners and stuff. Don't just sit in one corner. Don't just like, let's say I was like playing on this map. Don't just sit here and like look around that way. No, you gotta go over here. You gotta go over here and look that way and look over there. And then if it's clear over there, you gotta peek over here, and then you gotta go back over here. Constantly check. All right, constantly, and as many times as you can. check without making yourself visible by using third person and by staying behind cover. Without being visible and constantly knowing and checking and seeing where people are, you can improve your PvP a lot by predicting where people will go, shooting them when they're in the open, not letting them know where you are, which forces them in the open lots of times. Just to go around from place to place, forces them in the open. It'll give you the upper hand in a PvP scenario, and really improve your chances of winning against the other person, or if it's an arena match, maybe the 20 other people. Definitely something you need to do. It's kind of common sense, I know, but just something you need to do. Just be more observative, however you say it. Moving on to tip number 9. Alright guys, tip number 9 is also just kind of common sense, to be honest. It's just really knowing when you're visible, knowing when you're proning and you're going like this, if I'm going like out the ground, that your hand, part of your hand and your gun sticks to the floor, they can see you. Knowing when your gun sticks to the wall like this, and knowing that, like for example, some walls your gun would be sticking to the wall right there. Obviously it's not going like this though. Does it stick to the wall? Yeah, like right there, your gun sticks to the wall. Knowing when people can see you and knowing like how visible you are really helps your gameplay, because if you don't know that you're visible, then you aren't really going to be paying that much attention to your surroundings, because you might think like, oh, I'm safe, and you'll just like be paying attention in general, like everywhere, but you won't be like extra, like you won't be on alert or anything. And if you're visible, someone could shoot you down. You never want to be visible, so knowing you're visible, always try to stay not visible, not invisible. Invisible means you can't be seen, but out of vision of other people. For example, right there, horrible spot, anyone over there can see you. They can see you over there if you're on second to the wall. You can see you over there. Anyone that walks in here or over there can see you. This is a better spot. They can't see you necessarily. Knowing your angles, all that stuff, this really plays into being able to win in a PvP fight or being better at PvP in general. Moving on to tip number 10. Alright guys, tip number 10 is also just kind of common sense. Well, not really common sense, I shouldn't say that. It's more of a skill. If you play on easy servers and arenas, most arenas don't have this, or easy arenas I should say, easy mode that is, you won't really have to deal with this ever. But if you're playing on normal servers or normal arenas or even hard, you're gonna see this. You're gonna have to deal with this almost all the time unless they disable on that specific server. Is bullet drop. All right. So lots of people just don't deal with bullet drop, but the issue with bullet drop is that like bullet drop and bullet travel time are two things that exist in Unturned, meaning that like your bullet won't go straight where you shoot it. So if I shoot like right there, as you can see it shot farther down, and it takes time. You can see like the bullet flying through the air. It takes time to reach its mark, especially if this was like twice the distance I was trying to shoot at someone. You see as the bullet shoots towards them, and you have to kind of predict where people go. You can't like shoot at them and expect it to instantly hit them, because it's not. It's gonna have some delay, and it's gonna have to take a second to get there. You have to predict that. Now, if you don't play on those servers again, it doesn't really matter. But I'm not gonna go into detail. There's plenty of wonderful videos on YouTube about how to learn how to counter bullet drop. But using scopes can really help you. Just that kind of thing. Assists you when you're using bullet drop, because you can like see the markers and stuff and calculate. Like this is what I was talking about before with rangefinders on snipers. You kind of have to know how to do that to be able to snipe really good on servers with bullet drop. You have to know the range and like how many ticks down for each range or whatever. But just something to keep in mind. If you don't know how to counter for bullet drop, maybe consider watching a video on YouTube, trying it out in single player, and then maybe practicing it whenever you PvP in a situation where it would apply. And just getting better at it over time, because it would definitely improve your game, especially if you're playing against people who have no idea how to counter bullet drop. It'll give you a one-up on them, and you can dominate, straight up dominate on them. But yeah, there's not really much else to talk about. That is my 10 tips / guide on how to become better at PvP. Nice looking sun you got there, Nelson. High detail. Not. And I really hope you guys enjoyed, and that you can take these tips and go in arena or PvP servers or even creative servers and just lay some complete domination down on these noobs. Even if you were a noob before watching this video, who don't know how PvP that well, even if it's just the simplest of the simple tips I went over today, and maybe working on your sprays and your bullet drop over time and getting better at those too. Just becoming better overall in Unturned and being able to be better at PvP. I hope that this guide has helped you, and that you see yourself becoming better over time when you PvP in Unturned. But yeah, there's not really much else to say, as I said before, so make sure to join the Reform Discord. Make sure to check out my other videos. A few of my latest videos have been kind of cringy. Sorry about that. Trying. I'm gonna get back on that stream grind soon. And of course, Reform servers are too close. They're so close to being released. The 6 or 4 new servers, whichever one we decide to do. But of course, we do have 4 current public servers you can join in the Discord below, as I already mentioned. So do all that stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Sable out.